Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the Art of Sound show. I am your host KJ. We do this every Thursday. All right. So we're at the new time. I'm usually on live at 8 p.m. on Thursdays, but I had to move it to 12 p.m. Central Standard Time because I have some things going on that popped off and I had to move the show. So um, I was hoping that this time, the new time frame, will kind of work with a lot of people, work well. It worked great for me actually, and I actually like this time better, even though this is the first show. But the whole gist of it is me being interactive with the machine or music production community, which is you guys that are watching these videos, and that's the reason why they get into the 45 minute to an hour, maybe a little bit over an hour sometimes, because I'm on here showing techniques and things that I know and learned over the years with you guys. And if I have enough questions that comes in, I'm spending most of that time answering questions. So I am definitely aware that attention spans are not that great. You know what I mean? But this is what these shows are for. So, I get those questions. Why are your videos so long? That's because they are actually live. And by the time you get to them, they are archived already. You know what I mean? And I just leave them there, and they get quite a bit of interaction. So I just leave them there. Anyone have further questions, I can get on and just answer your questions as we go. So um, about the PMU show, you know, we still have yet to launch that. We will be launching that very soon. It's my podcast shows where I get on and just talk about any and everything that I want. You know what I mean? I got other things that flows through my brain other than music, so I use that to express that. And I'll be going live with my wife. She'll be hosting with me, and what I'm doing is also setting a platform for other producers, beat makers, or whatever, to showcase your music on my show. So that music would actually be sitting right up under my, our vocals as we talking and things like that. You know how it goes. And if you are interested in, putting your music, allowing us to use your music to go under while we're talking, please feel free to email us at pmushow@gmail.com, and then just put in the subject PMU instrumental, and that's pretty much it. All right, and so the next thing, I had to start making notes because I be forgetting things to talk about on the show. So the next thing that I had, um, well, that's pretty much it. But the title of this Out of Sound show would be How Machine Getting Stronger. Well, Machine is getting stronger. You know what I mean? Because I feel like this. I feel like, and this actually my answer would tie into the next question, because this is a question, a featured question that I want to address. But the machine, I feel like the machine community is only getting stronger and stronger and stronger. More and more people wanting to purchase the machine here. Right now, they come in black and white. I'm sure they will be coming out with more colors at a later date if they don't already. I think I seen something where there was another color added, but don't quote me on that. I don't know. I just read a blog, and you know how blogs are sometimes. Sometimes they be false information, and so I'll definitely check more into that. And if that's so, then I'll definitely be updating you guys by the next Art of Sound show. All right. So, but at the current moment, all I know about is the white one and the black one, the Machine Studio. And so obviously I have the white one. My videos are blue. I mean, where I get blue from. My videos are black. That's what I'm trying to say. Black and white. This particular video. And so this is the white one. And I love it. I love it. I think it's like one of the best investments. I come from the NPC era. Let me go ahead and let's put out this feature question. The feature question for this show is, why do you use the machine? And I wanted to address that live and it goes with what I was getting ready to say anyway. Well, here's my story. When I first purchased the machine, this was the MK1. It was some years back actually. Um, my wife purchased it for me as a Christmas gift. And I didn't know she was going to do it, but I was talking about it to the point where I was like, man, I can't wait to stack my paper so I can get the machine or whatever, because what I was using was a 61 key Triton Studio keyboard, which is a regular sequencer, is by chord, right? And I just used the MIDI ports to trigger stuff inside of Logic. That's what I was using at the time, Logic Pro. And my buddy brought over an 88 key, which is obviously a little longer than a 61 key. And the same kits that I will be using to program my drums and things like that, I've started noticing, now I have an octave lower and an octave higher. Where are all these new sounds coming from? Is these new? Did they update the system, the program? Where all these sounds? So what it was, although I had 61 keys, there were other sounds octave lower and octave higher than what I had on my keyboard. And my keyboard only can go one octave down. It can't go in, it's not like keyboards that was designed, you know what I mean? This is a MIDI keyboard, so I can go 3 octaves down and 3 octaves up higher, or 4 octaves down, or whatever. So what I did was I visited a Guitar Center, and I was looking for the MPD, I think it was, by Akai. I was wanting to use that because I wanted some, drum pads anyway. I come from the MPC world, so I wanted some drum pads to kind of integrate with my setup and do my drums on that, using that. And then the sales rep referred me to the machine, the machine at the time, the MK1, and I looked at that thing like, wow, okay. To me, it looked like a bunch of knobs and buttons or whatever, but it was cool because it was clear. Okay, here's the transport functions right here. Here's the patch right here. Okay, and little buttons, and I see it say volume or whatever. Okay, I could probably get with this. And got strings on it. Okay, all right. The NPC got 1 string, 2 strings. That might be dope. Okay, let me get that. So, I didn't get it. My wife got it, but I was like, okay, I want that. You know what I mean? And so my wife surprised me one day, Christmas, that Christmas, and I didn't expect that. My wife has always been my greatest supporter, my number 1 fan. I'll say that. So I thank God for my wife. Just had to throw that out there. But anyway, when I finally got it, I opened it up, was getting ready to dive in or whatever, and it was a learning curve, and it just looked like foreign language to me. And I'm like, okay, probably not going to be able to do. And I was in the middle of a project and some things going on or whatever, so I just kind of put it back in the box and put it on the side. So I'm like, you know what, I'm probably, you know what I mean. And 6 months passed by. All right, just about 6 months. 6 months then passed by, and I came across the YouTube video. I was looking at, I'm always looking at music production videos. I'm just interested in seeing other producers do their thing, whatever. It's always a good thing, kind of sharpen your skills and, you know what I mean, that type of thing. And I saw a guy doing something in the Machine studio. I mean, not studio then, but Machine. Okay, this thing does that, all of that. Oh, wow. So I look back at my Machine like, let me go get that right quick. Let me open it back up. Let's go ahead and learn this thing, right? You know what I mean? Let me just stop what I'm doing. Let's actually learn how to program this thing, because I'm missing out. I'm missing out on a whole lot. So I plugged it up and tried to go with the flow. It was a bit of a learning curve, absolutely, bit of a learning curve. But once I learned it, it was like it took the center place of my studio. That was what my studio needed, and it was like almost every project from then on out was done either using Maschine as a plugin inside of Logic, or I would do stuff inside of Maschine itself as the actual the software alone. You know what I mean? And from that day forth, that's just being what it was. And then when the Maschine Studio actually came out, me personally, I looked at that like as a great tool, as a great enhancement to, they came out with the Maschine 2, which came out with colors, more colors. That's nice. Colors, definitely like colors or whatever, but it wasn't worth another $600. I think that's what it was at that time to actually get something that now have colors, but everything is the same. And in fact, they subtracted one knob. I wasn't really happy about that. It was a what was it? Was it a no? It wasn't a volume knob. It was like the swing knob, and it was another knob, and made it into the big. It was a big knob, which is the same, probably the same size. This big the volume knob right here. But when this came out, I was like, okay, that's it right here. That right there. And this got two screens, two color screens. That is, and you can see what you're doing. And what Maschine has did was they made it where everything that you do, creative wise, should be from the controller itself, the device of where you are controlling or where you are programming your ideas and thoughts. That's where your energy should be placed at, not on the screen. Although on the screen there are things that you can't do inside a Maschine, but it's like the minimum things that you know what I mean, because you could do pretty much everything inside a Maschine. You can edit your notes, you can move notes around, you can nudge notes around, you can quantize your notes, you can copy and paste inside of here just using the controller itself. You know what I mean? You would think those functions will be only inside the computer. No, you could do all that stuff within the Maschine itself. You know what I mean? You can duplicate, you can move stuff around. You know what I mean? You can shorten patterns and double patterns and duplicate patterns and, create your whole song inside of here, searching for the sounds, browsing sounds. You can also sample. Now, this is where you have to go to the computer. In the sample mode, you have to obviously tell the software where the sound. You got to direct it to where the sound is coming from. Is it coming from your interface, or is it coming from your computer? Because Maschine allows you to record internally within your computer. So say you have a sample and you want to, or you can just drop the sample. You can just drop it right on in there and bam, And so, and then you can also record from your interface as well. So, those are excellent features, and that's why I love the Maschine. And not only that, I love Logic Pro. So, and I know there's a lot of you guys that probably have other dollars you're using. It's like it's not subtracting from what you're doing. It's actually an enhancement to what you're doing. So, that's why I feel like the Maschine Studio, or the Maschine in general, is a growing community, and that's why I use it. Now, a lot of people also, I still get these questions: is the Maschine better than the Renaissance? I really can't answer that question because I don't know the real answer to that, because I never played or sequenced anything inside of the Renaissance. However, the Renaissance, the pads on it feels lovely. Like I say, I'm from the MPC world, and the way the pads feel, oh my God, it feels the same as the actual MPC. If you all, any of you guys from the analog world like me, the pad still feels wonderful. I'll give them that. But as far as that, being creative and you know what I mean, like, and then the other plus, it's like having this Maschine right here. The ideas are limitless. You feel what I'm saying? They are limitless, and I say that because you can also trigger complete stuff, complete ultimate. Maschine Studio right out of the box comes with its own sounds, its own samples and presets and things like that, effects that comes with it. And in some of the sounds, they're already like pattern grooves or whatever, so you can just go right away. When you upload some of the groups, the patterns or whatever, it comes with the actual like songs already pre-formatted, and you know they do that. But if you want to go the extra mile and more sounds, when you get complete, you can still control the stuff using Maschine, which gives you like this key to amazing. So, you know, I'm sorry I took like the first 20-30 minutes of the show to explain like how, but you know, I get these questions and I always get excited when I share how I got started, because I think it's awesome. You know, at first I didn't know what I had, but then caught on like later on. So it was like that was crazy for me. So right in front of us, I tried to get a better angle. You know what I mean? You know, with the new setup, like, you know, it looks different from the last 40 something videos that I did in regards to the art of sound shows. You know, so I'm in a more of a temporary spot at the moment. It will be more temporary, probably a little bit more on the permanent side. But I have another idea of my setup, whatever. But we'll get into that later when we get there. But right here I have Maschine up, and what I did was I'm doing something a little bit different. I have as you can see, I have a different camera angle, which is better. I think you can kind of see, still can't see very clearly like, you know, what it says, but you have a better idea now than all of my other videos. So I'm excited about that. So that's what that other device in my view, you know, this thing up here, that's the second camera, so y'all can see what's going on right here. So cool. So basically what I did was, now, you know, we're just gonna I don't know, create something. I have a, what is it? Still can't say the name. Halcyon Sky. That's the name of the expansion kit that I'm using, and it's called, the first kit is Absorb Kit. I may change it, I don't know. But what I did was I went to groups. I toggled over to groups. Okay, you can, you know, toggle over to groups, and I just went to my Halcyon Sky and load the first group. And what will happen is they have presets where they'll load up all 16 pads, and I'm going to turn my fixed velocity so I can get the maximum volume. All right, put my headphones on right quick. All right, so that's basically how that works. And I say this is good for getting ideas, you know, whatever this is, the kit, you know, they put in whatever relative sounds, and you can actually create a whole song just using, you know, the group setup, get ideas, you know. Let's see. Too fast. Something like that. do that again. Something like this. I have to mention, this is great coffee. You want a mug like this? Let me know. I changed the logo, as you can see on the bottom left there. The logo, yeah, I'll talk about that later. But anyway, that was a quick plug. And sometimes you're not using all of the sounds that comes in the group. So what I do is I'll erase the rest of the sounds that I'm not using, because there's no sense of having all of the sounds filled up, whatever. So I'll just erase and just make room and just go and grab individual sounds. Now, if you was to go inside the browse menu, and you're thinking that you're adding more sounds in the current group, then you will overwrite everything that you did. Now the pattern will stay there, like here, that will stay. But if I was to grab another group, trying to see what other sounds are in other groups, then I will actually overwrite the sounds inside this current group. So you want to watch that. So if you're still going through some of the sounds, what I suggest is you go to group B or the next group, whatever your next group is. And then what I do, this is what I do. This is what I would do in a situation like this. Okay. So, all right. So it looks like I'm using these four right here. Everything else around here I can delete. So the way I do that is hit Shift, erase, and just erase them like that. Now I'm not erasing the sounds from the system, it's just erasing them off the pad. All right. So as you can see, all of these other pads cleared up. Now they're clear. As you can see, I didn't delete anything I have currently. So say I'm going back to browse. Okay, I want to see what's going on in the other groups, because I may be able to add that to my current pattern. So what I did was I went to group B, and let's go for another group and see what's going on. But in this instance, I'll just pull the sounds that I like and duplicate it and move it to group A, and I'm gonna show you exactly how I do that. I like that kick right there. or you can just continue going and create from here. But so I like those two. So this is what I would do. I'll hit duplicate. I like that sound and the blink. All right. Then I'm gonna go to group A, and I'm gonna just put it there. Doesn't matter where you put it. There we go. There's that sound. Then I'm gonna go back to my group B, because that's the other sound that I wanted. Again, repeat the steps. Duplicate, hit the pad that you want to drag over or copy over. Select the group, and I'm gonna just put it there. So now we're building a tower in a sense. All right. So what I'm doing is kind of panning them and doing like minor mixing, kind of place them in, you know. These are some of the things that I love about Maschine Studio. You know, not doubting, you know, the workflow. You know, not saying that the workflow is terrible in any other DAW, because I have a real great workflow inside of Logic. I can get in and just do whatever I want to do because I've been doing it for so long in there. But I've also taught myself the workflow of the Maschine as well, and the ability to just the click of one button, you're in the mix screen, and I could just immediately dial in, pan, and you know, adjust the volume, kind of level everything, and as well as I can adjust the group. The group is another thing, is another part of the mixing process, because I have my drums. I'm doing like most of my drums inside of group A, right? But I can control the whole group. You know what I mean? It's dope. I can control the whole group, and basically the way I can do that. And I only have one. No, I have two groups, so I could, you know, I can show you that easily. This is the mix spelled out for each pad, right? But I can easily hit my back button here and go, now this is group A, group B. I can adjust the levels accordingly. All right. So turn the whole group down. Say I just feel like the drums all together is too low or too high. I can just, you know, dial it in from there. You put it back at 0. Same for any other groups that you have, and it'll just come across here. All right. So in order to get back to the sounds, you just hit enter, and you go right back. You know what I mean? And you can only view 8 at a time. You know, 8 knobs, 8 channels. And the way you get to the next set, you know, you can see 2 right here because I'm at 9, because it's viewing the first 8, then the second 8 separately. So if I go down here, then I can see the other instruments. So you just got to select the pad that reflects that, you know, that pad, that part of the pads or whatever. So I can see everything here, and just, you know, just start mixing on the fly right there. Bam, one click of a button. Go to browse, keep creating. Say say I want to go ahead and start adding individual sounds. Hit the pre here, and I can hear the sounds as they. You know what I mean? And that's pretty much how I get down, you know. And I can keep going. I can keep going and keep going and keep going. And you know, Maschine being set up with as scenes, scenes and patterns. That's my thing. That's what I tell people. Maschine is set up upon scenes and patterns. You got your scenes in here, then you got your patterns. You set your pattern length according to whatever you're doing, I guess. So, okay, I'm in scene. That's scene 1. And your scene length is based on the pattern length. So, say for instance, okay, I have pattern 1 is 4 bars. All right, 4 measures, 4 bars, whatever. And you can see the length right here. It says 4, which is 4 bars. All right. But if I go to group B, there's nothing at the moment. So I have to create a group B. Now I can do an insert. I can hit the insert button up here and it'll create my first pattern. Or I can just hit the record button and it'll create it for me. Usually I just hit the record. That's pretty much easy for me because if I'm not in this screen here, I can just hit record and it'll do the same thing, you know, from anywhere. The other functions or features about Maschine, what Maschine did was they implemented the same idea more than one time. So what I mean by that is, in order to mix, it's not only in the mix window. You know, in order to turn down something, I don't have to always hit the mix button. I can just do something even on the fly. Even though this button is so convenient, it's just right here in your face. Bam, mix, bam, let's go mix. You have these other functions over here. So let's go back to group. Say that's loud, okay? Just make sure you are selected on sound here. This is the button for individual sounds in respect to the pad that you're selected on. So say for instance, as you can see clearly, I'm not in mix view. In fact, let's go to browse. All right, as you can see clearly, let's turn that kick down. Let's turn it back up. All right. And obviously, if you're not selected in one of these things here, you can the screen will tell you, it automatically switch and tell you where your volume is, which is dope. So you can always see, like this little bar right here will tell you. Right now, it's showing you the BPM 93.36. I need to make that a whole number. And then it is counting down here the bars and the tick value right here. Okay. But as soon as you do something like this and you move something, it'll tell you where the volume is, all right? Which is pretty cool, all right? And if you're moving too fast, like say you can't get that, you're trying to go for a specific, like man, I'm trying to get back to 0, but it keeps saying -0.1, -0.3 or something like that. All you gotta do is hit shift and then move slow and then get you back to wherever you wanna go, slowly. I use it all the time. That's a quick way, a quick tool. You know what I mean? That's really quick. Just drunk up all my coffee. Now I'm upset. All right, so that's pretty much how that goes. And then when you look on the screen, now I'll say this is one thing that you will always need to go to the screen for. I like to stay organized in my sessions, label everything. It's very key. It's very essential that you label everything. It just helps me. You know what I mean? So even when I get projects from other producers or other artists or whatever, I recommend that you label everything because it just makes life easier. You feel me? It makes life easy. So this first thing, I'm just gonna name it something. Drum pattern 1. I don't know, just whatever. Name the pattern. You can name the pattern because I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna tell you this, and I'm gonna show you exactly what I mean. I don't know if you guys can see this, but inside of, say, like I hit pattern, all right? Right now, it says pattern 1. And as you keep building, say I add all these patterns. Oh, that's another way to insert a pattern. You just hit the pad. Forgot to tell you that. See, that's one of the things about Maschine. There's more than one way of doing the same exact thing. I can insert, bam, insert another one. I can hit this. If yeah, record, if you hit record, it won't work because you're already in the pattern. You know what I mean? That record is just, the first thing to get it first started or whatever. But as you can see, if you guys can see that clearly, look like it's blurry. Don't know if you guys can see that, but anyway, what it says is pattern 1, pattern 2, pattern 3, blah 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 blah, all that pattern 10. Now, if you have begun to start building a song where you got different things going on in different patterns, that could be annoying. Not knowing what pattern does what, because it's just gonna say pattern 7, unless you remember that pattern 7 is the breakdown, and pattern 6 or 5 is the verse, and then pattern 2 is the hook or something like that. Then you good. But me, no, it's not working for me. I need to label this stuff. So I'm going on the computer itself, and I can show you guys how that looks. So on the computer itself, you guys can see on the computer, I'm out of that pattern. Let's go back to pattern 1. Spell drum wrong. All right, so I label that, and usually I will also label the group itself. So my pattern, well, my group A is the drums, and then my group B might say strings or keys or effects or whatever I'm doing. I try to group things in that way so that I know, because that's very important too, because when you go to when I just showed you how to activate your group section, which is this section, like right here, you can see all of the channels here, like in your mix view. But if you was to go to, say you was to just go to group like that, right? You see where I labeled drums. Okay, so I have drums right here, and this one is whatever the default group, whatever the name is, but I can actually change that. That's pretty cool. I like that. I think I'm gonna change that. I'm deleting all of the sounds in group B, and I can actually relabel it. So I'm gonna name it effects. Actually, it's not effects. It should be something called something else. Nice interface. This is pretty dope. I should probably get it. I need to get into this. This is Prism. I'm going to delete that pad. Take you guys to what I'm doing. So what I did was I just moved that. It was up here first, then I moved it down here. All right. Think I like how that sound. And like I say, don't have to be in the mix. You can actually go to the sound, and you can also control the group in hold. And this is the master right here. Now Q, I know in my other video I was telling you guys that I didn't know what Q was, but I figured out what Q was. This is the fourth button that I couldn't figure out. And then these buttons over here is the inserts. So if you were to be sampling this, these will let you know, like, sample check 1, 2. That's pretty cool. It's telling me, let's see, yeah, it's picking me up from the, yeah, it's picking me up on my mic, which is pretty dope. Wow. But yeah. So this function right here in itself is great. You know, this little area up here, I love it. And then they got these indicator lights up here saying what you're obviously using, I guess. And then you have these functions down here, which is awesome. You know, copy, paste, nope, nudge, undo, redo, quantize, clear. All right. And then I already went into this. Now, not sure if you guys are aware, but this is something I figured out probably a couple of months ago. But I can actually tune. I gotta be out of mix. It can't be. I think I can't be in mix. I can't. I don't think I could be selected in any of these here. Nope. Can't be selected in anything up here in order to get these other functions up here to work. Let's see. Oh, I can't tune using this sound. It just told me it's not available. But if I go back to here, which is a standard, using the standard sampler interface here, I can definitely and that's tuning your instrument on the fly. Just hold it down, and then as you move this toggle knob here, tune will come up, and then if I need to get to the other parameters, I just hit toggle over. If I wanted to swing or just the volume, and I can move it like that. But you gotta hold down the pad, which is pretty dope. And then again, up here in the screen, you can see the value, the tune value. Yeah. Now, that sounded a bit off to me because I wanted to come in at 1. I mean, it still sound cool, but say for instance, you are in a predicament where you program something and it didn't come in quite on time. So how do you do that inside a Maschine without putting your eyes on the computer? You have to go to events. Events is a beautiful place. I wish I could zoom in so you guys can see. But this knob right here in the right screen, I can zoom in, as you can see. I can zoom in, make the notes bigger like this. And you can see what it's doing over here. It actually selects that area that you're zooming in on. And if I need to move something, I need to move to the next or to a particular section of that event, I can use this knob. These knobs don't work, but this right here, you can move around. All right. Then you can still use your toggle right here to jump around to where you want to go. And what it's going to do is going to make big jumps to each measure or each bar. And if I want to make small increments, you hit the shift. Then now it's actually moving by beats, quarter beats that is, because before it was moving by whole notes to each bar. Okay, it was jumping 4 beats at a time. But if I want to go beat by beat, I can hit the shift. Not really sure if y'all can see that, but I think you guys get the point. All right, so for that specific sound, this is the sound that I wanted to adjust. Okay, so it matters which one you are selected. So you are in events. I have all these for it, and like say you're doing a big move on everything, you want to move everything, you have to make sure that whatever sound that you want to affect is selected. But in this case, I'm not selecting all of them. I just wanted to move this sound right here. So this one, I'm going to move to, okay, and I can see, okay, let's see. Okay, never mind. This is not the note I want to use. It was actually, come out of here. It was this note in my group B. This is what I wanted. So let's go back to events. And as I can see here, it's like it comes in at like the next beat, the next beat after one. So make sure I select that, and what I'm going to do is hit my nudge, and I'm going to move it over. Okay, so I moved it over to 1. So now when I hit play, and to be honest with you, I think it sounds better where it was. But just in case, you know, that's why I love music production, because anything can happen. Mistakes is what makes the music sometimes. So I'm gonna add that in the next round. All right. Cool. All right, so, and that's basically what it looked like. I'm gonna play around with some of this stuff later on at a later date. This is pretty dope stuff here. Love it. So, didn't want to bore you guys anymore. Very basic, very simple. Simple beat that is. But I actually go more in depth of me, between me and my Maschine studio, like actually creating from scratch to something. I try to get to at least a hook or the chorus. I try to build that much so you guys can hear the intro, the verse, the chorus, however the song structure is, you know, to get to that point, so you can kind of hear the dynamic climb. You know what I'm saying? I try to get that far, and I call it Maschine Studio Dialogue. There's these dialogues that I'm doing every week as well, and the goal is to do them on Mondays. That's the goal. So I put out a new video. It's just me, you know, me and my machine interacting, just me and my machine. That's pretty much it. As far as explaining everything that I do, I'm not talking at all. It's just me just going about just being creative. You know what I'm saying? That's what that is. You know, so any of you guys was wondering, you know, he's not saying anything. What did he just do? So what I suggest is if you guys was to come across something that I'm doing inside of my dialogues, you can just jot down the video time, the video timestamp, and comment. You know, leave your questions. What are you doing right here? What is that? And I could kind of explain that in these shows, these Art of Sound shows. Um, yeah, I can kind of break it down then and try to explain it the best way I can. You know, so I'm looking at my question section on, you know, this it's probably it's new time. Everybody's not really, you know, but you know, I really apologize for the inconvenience for most of my views. You know, we were used to the 8 p.m. time, you know, and I was getting some great interaction or feedback then. But I had to move it up, like I said. So 12 p.m. is the new time that I will be doing these shows, and um, hopefully I can reach out to you know, people that are available around this time. If you got any questions, you know, please feel free. That's why I do these shows, so I can answer questions and ask questions. I may have some questions for you guys. So anyway, I definitely appreciate you guys for coming out. And my mouse wants to sleep on me. All right. So stay tuned. Next week, same time, 12 p.m. every Thursdays. Remember, bring your questions. Bring your questions. Bring your questions. All right. I see y'all around.